Make the ground shake.
Hello there, ladies and gents. Welcome to TechFan95's Artemis guide. I haven't played Artemis in a long time, but she's fun. She was one of my first gods that I ever started playing when I played Smite. And let's just go ahead and hop straight into it. Talk about her abilities. Her passive, still target. She kind of like the item Rage, the passive on Rage. It for every successful basic attack, she gains stacks of critical chance, and the critical chance per hit is at 5% with a duration of 4 seconds with a max of 3 stacks. So that gives you 15% critical strike chance, which is really nice. It's really good to have. I love the It's probably one of the best ADC passives in my opinion. Her one ability is Transgressor's Fate. Sorry, it's a ground target. It's like a trap. It's a root. It roots the target for 2 seconds. Does only a little bit of damage for the 2 seconds. It does 25 up to 85 damage, and you can have a max of 3 traps. And what it looks like that. And since Artemis doesn't really have an easy escape or really an escape at all, that's what I mainly use the trap for, as an escape. Like if you have somebody chasing you, you just drop it right there. Boom. They're trapped. You can either hit them a couple of times or just keep running for your life. That's what I normally do. Her second ability is a attack speed and a movement speed buff. The attack speed goes from 35% to 75%, and the movement speed is only at 20%. The duration goes from 3 to 5 seconds. I use this. Best time to use this is when you're attacking other gods like enemies, or using it right after trapping somebody if you're trying to run away. That'll give you that extra boost to get on out of there. That's kind of how I make up for her escapes. Sorry about that. Her 3 ability is an AoE. It's like an arrow barrage. Suppress the Insolent. It does an area damage of from 80 damage to 280. Does a slow for 25% for 2 seconds. This is really good to use for lane clear. Excuse me. This is really good to use for lane clear. I wouldn't suggest really relying on it though early game. Only use it if you can at least get one of the gods in your lane inside of the area of effect as well. That way you'll take out a good 3 or 4 minions plus do some poke damage, which is always nice. If you want to know what it looks like, that's what it looks like. And I activated the 2 ability. That's nice. And her ulti is probably one of my favorite ultimates for an ADC. It's the Caledonian Boar. I nicknamed it Pumbaa. It does anywhere from 150 to 450 damage. It does a stun from 1 second to 1.5 seconds, and it lasts for 6 seconds. Now it's really good to use. That's what it looks like. That's why I named it Pumbaa. If you're in a bad spot and you use it, Hakuna Matata, guys. Everything's all good. And it's best to use this. I wouldn't waste it on one god. It's not worth it. I'd use it mainly for team fights. Save it for the team fights, because that way it will either A, help you secure the kill, help you secure the kill, 2, that's right, 2 will either help your team get out. Like if the team fight's not going the way you wanted it to go, you pop the Pumbaa and you get the hell out. Because it'll go around stunning everybody for the 1.5 seconds, giving your team enough time to either get out or wipe them. You could also use it, like I've used before, if you have like a Hades on your team, or anybody with huge CC ultimates. I use that first. That way if there are any beads during the team fight, they get wasted on the boar if they're not paying attention. But I wouldn't just throw it out all willy-nilly like on just one person to secure a kill. It's not worth it. The cooldown is 90 seconds. I wouldn't do it. So that's just a quick overview of the skills. Let's go ahead and go into abilities. For the starter build on Artemis, I like to go with Death Toll and Tier 1 of the Gauntlets. The reason I do this is because it gives quite the bit of sustain. With Death Toll, it gives you 6 health and 1 mana per hit, 15 physical power and 90 health. But it gives you the 6 health and 1 mana per hit, plus the 7% from the Spike Gauntlets will give you a good amount of uh, sustain in the beginning part of the game. The only downfall to doing this, in my opinion, is because Artemis is very mana hungry early game. It's insanely mana hungry. So if you're just now starting to play Artemis, or if you don't really have a good idea of when to use her abilities and how to keep good mana consumption, instead of getting the Dev Glove or the Death Toll, I would suggest going with Bluestone Pendant because it gives you the mana instead of the health, and plus the extra 20 or sorry, my bad, 30 physical damage over 2 seconds, max of 2 stacks. That's really good for poke as well. Um, so yeah, if you're really having issues with the mana, I'd go Bluestone Pendant instead, but normally I just go with Death Toll. On your first, or yeah, you want to also get, after getting that, you're going to want to get some mana potions to help with that, because your sustain from these two items with health wise should be okay. On your first go back, you're going to finish your Dev Gloves. That way you can start those, I'm right here, dude. That way you can start those stacks as soon as possible. Get those done pretty quick. It gives you 20% physical lifesteal and zero point 0.4 physical power per stack. It's a max of 75 stacks. It it's really good to help with a with a sustain and power boost. After you get the Dev Gloves, your next go back, you're going to go ahead and get your boots. You want to go with Warrior Tabby for the 40 physical power instead of the Ninja Tabby. The attack speed you don't really need with this build that I have. You'll have plenty, and you'll be at maxed out with your 2 ability, but I'll show you that here in a little bit. After you get your Warrior Tabby, you're going to go ahead and go with Ichival. I get Ichival because of the 30% attack speed, 10 physical penetration, and it's passive. The passive on each basic attack increases your physical power by 10 and reduces your target's physical power from items by 10 for 3 seconds, max of 3 stacks. So you're gaining an additional 30 physical power and reducing their physical power. So you're debuffing the enemy while buffing up yourself, giving yourself a little bit of an upper hand. But if you don't really feel like you want this item, and if you feel like you're having issues clearing waves, I would recommend going with Odysseus Bow instead, because the chain lightning effect will help you clear lanes a lot faster, because Artemis's lane clear isn't really top notch. That's where she really lacks at. But anyway, either Ichival or Odysseus Bow, whichever one you go with, after you get it, you're going to want to go with Executioner.
Always be prepared.
I go Executioner because of the power, the 20% attack speed, and it reduces physical protections by 6 and an additional 8% for 3 seconds, max of 3 stacks. So you're reducing the physical protections by 20 plus percent. Yeah, so 20 plus percent, and that'll definitely help you out with the Ichival and the Executioner, and with the next item, which is going to be a Quinn size. It really does help with taking down those heavier targets like a Bologna, your Guardian in the lane, the Ymir, or whatever you're going up against. It really helps burn and chew through them. And if you're able to churn through them really quick, you're able to just cut down those squishy players like a hot butter or a hot butter, a hot knife through butter. Oh, look at me, I'm great. After you get Executioner, you're going to go ahead and go with Quinn size.
Always be prepared.
Like I stated, it gives 30 physical power, 15% attack speed, and an additional 4% of their maximum health as damage. Now that really helps out with the tanky people, because if you've got a tanky Guardian on the other team, which you should, they're going to have quite a bit of health, and 4% of their health as extra damage is always going to help out. So after you get Quinn size, you're going to go ahead and sell your Death Toll and get your Deathbringer. Deathbringer is the only crit item I get because of Artemis's passive. I see a lot of people picking up Rage, but I'm just not a fan of it. I don't like Rage because Artemis's passive is already a Rage. In my opinion, So the Deathbringer just, I think this build is just icing on the cake. Uh, if you don't really want to go Quinn size, I've seen a lot of people lately here picking up Hasten Fatalis. I don't like it. I guess if you're having issues with people getting away from you, this would be a good item to go, but I personally would not get it. But yeah, so that's the items you get. Let's go ahead and talk about some actives. You can never go wrong with beads. I usually get beads. And because Artemis does not have a really good getaway other than the scenario I put in with your trap and then your 2 ability to kind of get out of there, that's hoping that they get trapped. I normally just go ahead and get Greater Sprint. So you're going to want to get beads and Greater Sprint because the Sprint will help you get out of there faster. And yeah, that's a quick little overview of Artemis's abilities. A good one, my build that I use. A lot of people say it's unconventional, but it works for me. I feel like a lot of these guys are really playstyle based. I really like the way all these abilities go through with each other, how well the items stack with each other. I think it's a good fit. Why don't you go ahead and try it out if you want? See how it works out for you. I also do see a lot of people, instead of getting dev gloves, they're actually going with Transcendence,
Always be prepared.
which isn't a bad idea. It gives you a pretty good damage boost, and it gives you a whole lot more mana, because like I said, Artemis is kind of a mana-hungry hunter. So if you want to go ahead and get Transcendence instead of dev gloves, that's not a bad idea, but if you do that, sell your Ichavol, and get either Bloodforge, which is what I would recommend, or Soul Eater. Because the reason I recommend Bloodforge is because it gives you physical lifesteal and power. So it kind of does both. Soul Eater gives you 15 physical power to everyone and 10 physical penetrations, a little bit of health, 20% lifesteal, and 15% attack speed. That's a good choice too, but my personal choice is Bloodforge.
Always be prepared.
That way you get your lifesteal still and your sustain. But that was just a quick little guide for you guys. If you like it, go ahead, give it a like, comment on whatever you would like to change. I'm open to all suggestions. I don't play Artemis that much, so I don't know what's a new and hip thing kids do nowadays. Uh, Link to the Facebook, Twitch, Twitter are all going to be inside of the description. If you want to see a specific build or a specific video, go ahead and comment it below, and I'll do it as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Look up the info. Follow us on Facebook to get the best updates, and have a good one.